Spring break is upon us, but we're not mailing it in just yet.
Yeah, that's right, Shane. It's a great day here at the beach at Ohio Sports Zone. We have men's basketball, women's basketball, hockey, even our very own Nate Sexauer to talk about his dodgeball victory over the weekend. Ohio Sports Zone, right now. Welcome back on Ohio Sports Zone. Ethan Graham here with not Bobby Levine. It's Rabbit Father Shane Dazen joining us once again. Bobby Levine is away this week. Shane, a big week for both men's and women's basketball.
Yeah, Ohio men's basketball taking a loss at home against Buffalo this past Tuesday, 83-79. And if you want to jump into that game real quick and fill everybody in on what happened there.
Yeah, it was an 83-79 loss for the Cats. It was a game in which they got up early, were hitting their shots early right as the game started, the first really 4 or 5 minutes, but kind of faded for the rest of the game. It was a physical game, a lot of fouls, being called towards the second half. The first half, there was a lot of physical play, but the rest really swallowing the whistle in the second half. That was something I noticed about this game. The calls were not consistent in terms of the fouls from the refs. Ohio did get down. Like I said, they struggled with their field goal percentage towards the end of the first half, and at the beginning of the second half. They trailed by 11 with 16 minutes left. But Jason Carter was able to fuel a big run for the Bobcats, scored 8 of 16 points at one point. Had 19 and 9, another big game for Jason. Jerron Carter fouled out late in this game. We never see Jerron get into foul trouble, so that was kind of confusing. 15 and a game high, 4 assists for Jerron. That's a very low number of assists for this team to be at a game high, so that was kind of confusing out of Jerron. Very uncharacteristic performance out of him. It was, kind of strange. So Block and Laster able to get the Cats back, hit a couple big baskets down the stretch to get the Cats back to within 80-79. They had a chance to tie it. They had Jason Carter on an inbound play right in front of the hoop, was not able to hit the shot. Good defense by Buffalo, give them a lot of credit. C.J. Bassenberg, Willie Connor able to hit some huge shots for the Bulls down the stretch. It was ultimately not a win for the Bobcats. They will try and get back on track this weekend against Miami.
Yeah, and Miami was the last team that the Bobcats were able to beat back February 21st, and it's been a while since Ohio has gotten a win. Is Miami exactly what the doctor ordered for the Bobcats, or is this another trap game?
Yeah, well, Ohio has to fix, their issues with down low, defensively right now. That was something I noticed at the end of the Buffalo game, really, when Buffalo needed to score, they needed to go on a run, close out Ohio. They were able to get whatever they wanted down low. Miami's a team they can address that against. They can really fix the issues they have down low, and they must correct that. Miami's coming off a big win against Akron. They're going to have their heads held high. Think they have a chance to, play spoiler a little bit for Ohio. But I think Ohio, this is a game where they're going to come out agitated. Almost always after they have a tough loss like this in MAC play, they come out, they figure it out, and I think they can get it done. Certainly I do.
And after that loss against Buffalo, Ohio fell to 10-7, which tied them with Buffalo for second there in the MAC East. And that top 4 teams in the MAC get that bye going into the tournament here. The Cats at this point, do you think they have a shot to potentially clinch one of those byes, or is that other question now?
Yeah, so all they have to do is just win tomorrow, and even if they don't win tomorrow, there's one thing I think that has to go right for them to get that bye in the MAC tournament. So they're not going to be the 2 seed. They will be the 3 or the 4 seed almost positively, and have that first round bye, not have to play another game in the combo. So that's a good thing. That's just one less game on the legs. The way I see it for Ohio, you're looking at a mid-level MAC team like Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Toledo, all very beatable teams. I like their odds to definitely win one game. They've showed they can play with those teams. They did struggle against Toledo at one point, struggled against Central Michigan. Marcus Keene came in and had really one of the best scoring performances I've ever seen in the Convocation Center. So, those teams worry me a little bit, but not as much as the teams that are going to eventually have to go through if they want to wind up in the big dance. Your Buffaloes of the world, your Akrons. Even Ball State has a good squad this year. They're usually down in men's basketball, but they've, formed a formidable team and, getting that program back up on its feet. So, if Ohio can shoot, if they can string together some defense, really, assert their dominance in the post a few games, really play hard, play a physical game, I think they could, shock the world here in Athens and end up in that NCAA tournament if they put it all together for 3 games.
Well, that would be absolutely huge here, and I'm sure Athens, Ohio would maybe possibly literally blow up.
I know I would. The last time they were in the tournament
here, I think we would definitely have a lot of excitement here in Athens. But on the women's end, the women's basketball team improves to 20-8, 11-6 in MAC play with a big win last night against Bowling Green, 79-68. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, it was a 79-68 win against Bowling Green, a very beatable team. Ohio had been struggling coming into this game, but Kiera Lampkins just doing what she does in double figures for the 14th time this season, 23, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. I like Ohio's odds, going into the tournament. They have Akron coming in. What's going to be a huge senior day. Kiera Lampkins, Umani Jenkins, Jasmine Witherspoon, Hannah Basinger, all girls who've built up this Ohio program. You've heard Bobby Levine talk about it on the program before, as well as our viewers talk about how big this women's program has gotten, how much Bob Bolden has built it up since he's come here. So it's going to be an emotional senior day against Akron. Ohio, struggled in the regular season, but they are getting healthy. I like their chances in the tournament. They're going to definitely play one very beatable team, one team, lower in the MAC tournament. They're going to have that 5 or 6 seed at home. Very unfortunate they have to play that home game, but I like their chances to get it done. And, I like their chances more than the men's. I think they get it done in the tournament just in the standpoint they've shown they can win. They've shown they can do it before. And, this men's team has not made a tournament bid since 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, we talk about a girl like Kiera Lampkins, and she paced the Bobcats last night with 23 points, and her role on this team has been absolutely crucial for the Cats. How do you think she plays here in this last game and into the tournament, and is it going to be her hand that wins these games for the Cats?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kiera Lampkins is going to be huge, carrying this team forward for Ohio, and really she's going to be the one that drives them into the tournament. I like the chances, like I said.
Yeah, they definitely have a solid base to go with there. But when we come back, we will cover some nice NHL hockey-esque action here in Bobcats land. Ohio headed toward the ACHA National Tournament, what is potentially a little Stanley Cup type thing for the ACHA. So we'll have a little bit of fun with that.
Let's do it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back, Ohio Sports Zone. Ethan Graham, Shane Dazen, still here at the beach. A beautiful sunny day, a great day for some Ohio Sports Zone, if I do say so myself. I want to go up north where they play hockey, not so much on the beaches per the usual. Talk about the ACHA hockey. The Ohio Bobcats, 24-8-1, had a very good regular season, standing at number 3 in the most recent national poll. Shane, I want to know, you're the play-by-play voice of the Ohio Bobcats on @ABW Hockey. You see this team week in and week out. If you had to give this season a letter grade, what would you give it, A through F?
Man, this is tough because they started out so well, and you want to reward them for their great play early on in the season and getting out to that big lead that they saw in the CSCHL. But toward the end of the regular season, we saw the Bobcats kind of fall apart a little bit. That power play didn't work like it did early on, and that gave the Bobcats some fits, and they weren't able to score the big goals that they were finding early on in the season. And as a result, they lose their last 2 games against Iowa State and fall to second in the CSHL. Don't win the regular season title. They lose in double overtime in the CSCHL tournament to Lindenwood, and that is obviously got to sting for the Bobcats, as they have yet to capture another CSCHL title under Coach Hogan. And after all that is said and done, it's hard to give the Bobcats an A. They didn't really get to where they wanted to be at the end of the regular season and in the CSCHL tournament. I think you got to give them a very close A, a B+, and hope that they can make some hay in this ACHA national tournament and maybe regain some of that.
I agree with you. It was certainly a successful season. This Bobcats team was dominating at times. Certainly does have some flaws, and it's the same things really we talk about each week. Breaking out of the zone, playing that systemic brand of hockey, not the most flashy at times. Sometimes leaves them, just stuck in the neutral zone for long ends of time. But a good season. I do agree with you. 24-8-1, number 3 national ranking. Not a whole lot to be upset about unless we get nitpicky. Moving into the tournament, March 10th, Ohio will play in Dublin at the Chiller. If you have the chance to go up Route 33 for that one, folks, please do. Going to be a great event. Pitt and Oklahoma. Ohio would be playing the winner of that game earlier in the week. Is there a matchup you like better for the Bobcats heading into that game?
Oh, well, I think I got to go with Pitt here just because the Bobcats have had experience against this Pitt lineup. 2 big wins a couple weeks ago. They really fooled Pitt into thinking that they had a chance early on and then swallowed that game whole in both Friday and Saturday's contest. So you got to like what the Bobcats did against Pitt, and I think that experience is valuable because you've seen that team, you've seen the way they've played, and you've had that in-game experience with them. But Oklahoma, too, is a team that was 16-8-5, number 14 in the final rankings there. So you know that they can get the job done as well, and they would be a tough opponent to play too, just like Pitt would. But like I said, Ohio has already had that experience against Pitt, already played 2 really meaningful games against them, and I think that you go back to the barn there against Pitt.
Yeah, that first game is really not the game you're worried about. Those are 2, good teams, but both teams I'm not as worried about if I'm Ohio as, the Lindenwoods, the Iowa States, the Minot States, the Adrians, are probably going to have to go through if you want to, win that ACHA tournament. Something we've talked about all season is the youth of this team. It was a question mark coming in. 9 freshmen. We didn't know, how they were going to perform, the inconsistencies that come with having a lot of youth on a hockey team. But they've really excelled. What have you seen out of these 9 freshmen this year? Do you view taking so many freshmen into the playoffs, into a tournament? It's a different style thing. Do you view taking that youth in as an advantage or a disadvantage? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think what the Bobcats did with these freshmen this year was a completely educating process. They let these guys get into the lineup early on and find their place in that lineup, and especially for a team that is graduating 10 seniors this year, that's incredibly invaluable. These guys have had the chance to play in and throughout the lineup the entire season long, and they've got that experience. And I think at the end of the day, it's a positive thing for the Bobcats going into this tournament with some young guys who have some experience. These guys are already primed to contribute in their roles, and you see guys like Gianni Evangelisti, for example, that third-line center who is second on the team in points with 32 at the end of the regular season, really expand his role at the end of the regular season. And I think that that's the type of maturation process that Coach Hogan has allowed to take place here at Bird Arena for the Bobcats, getting these guys into the lineup early on and letting them play into the system and working themselves into the system. And you're seeing the result of that here as we're moving toward the ACHA national tournament, and the Bobcats are ranked number 3. Yeah,
great to see Evangelisti. You mentioned him there. I think he did lead the team in scoring towards the end. I know he was certainly close to the top.
I think Liam Geither ended up ahead of him, just I think like 1 or 2 points ahead of him, but he did miss that final weekends against Iowa State, so it is worth noting that he might have got a couple points there, might have helped them out at the end there.
Nonetheless, moving into the ACHA tournament, real quick before we go into break here, do you think the Bobcats can hang a banner from the rafters come next school year? Do you think they can pull it out?
Man, it's going to be a tough journey. I don't want to count them out, and I don't want to count them in just yet either. I think that you got to assess the competition as it comes toward the Bobcats, and this first matchup against Pitt or Oklahoma looks pretty good for the Cats to advance, and we'll see where they go from there. But we've seen them beat teams like Lindenwood. We see them have success against teams like Iowa State before. They haven't played Minot State this year, but consistently up there in the rankings with the Minot States and the Adrian colleges. So teams like that are beatable. And if the Bobcats play their best brand of hockey and the hockey that they're capable of playing, they shouldn't have any problem running through this tournament and potentially capturing another banner for Ohio.
Yeah, going to be a great, exciting tournament. Like I said, that's the Dublin Chiller, March 10th, if you can make it. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk Diamond Sports, softball, baseball. Stay right where you are. It's Ohio Sports Zone.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back. It's Ohio Sports Zone. Still Ethan Graham, still Shane Dazen. Might have to get some sunscreen here. I'm getting kind of burnt here.
Yeah, with 30 SPF might do my skin wonders. I don't know. Maybe a little higher.
I don't know. Let's get back to sports, though. Baseball Diamond, Ohio taking a tough loss to Alabama State. They were down 10, was it 12-0 at one point? They really struggled.
12-0 after 6 innings. Yeah, 10-run third inning for Alabama State, a team that was 3-6 after beating the Bobcats in Ohio, which is now 5-4. Took that branding in the third inning and didn't really recover thereafter. 12-0 after 6, and Ohio scored all of its runs in the final 2 innings to make it 12-6, but really it wasn't a contest.
Yeah, moving forward for Ohio, they're off to, kind of an average start here. Do you think they can right that ship? Do you think this is an Ohio team that can, maybe win the MAC? Talk about their, some of the things they've done in the early season here. Well,
yeah, Ohio has seen success in these past few seasons, winning the MAC conference title there in 2015, and I think that Ohio has a winning tradition here in Athens of at least fielding competitive teams. Maybe not championship caliber teams, but competitive teams. And I think that that's something that you're going to see the Bobcats really integrate moving forward here. They might not be the cream of the crop, but they're going to compete and they're going to work really hard. And you've got guys like senior Ty Black, who are manning second base for the Bobcats, that are really solid up the middle too. Shortstop Tyler Finkler with 2 RBIs in that Alabama State game, also contributing up the middle as well for the Bobcats. So if they get good pitching and they get good defense up the middle specifically and behind the dish, I think that's a winning formula for any baseball team. And all they got to do is find hits here, scratch out runs there, and they have just as good a shot as anybody.
In the game of baseball, I hear a lot of people say that all 27 outs are equally as important. I disagree with that. I think the last 3 are absolutely the most important. I think the closer role is very underrated in the game of baseball. I understand Ohio has a closer that has just earned a MAC Player of the East reward. MAC Player of the Week.
Yeah, Jake Roan, who came in as the preseason MAC favorite for Closer of the Year, won the MAC East Pitcher of the Week award for the Bobcats, and this is a guy that has had his name mentioned in these types of conversations for the last couple years, and he really emerged for the Bobcats last year, a sub-2 ERA with 7 saves for the Cats at the back end of that bullpen, and that's something that's really integral for any baseball team, having that closer who can shut out an opposing team for those last 3 outs in the last most important outs of the game.
From one diamond to another, we'll go next door to the softball team. They were down in Knoxville today playing number 15 Tennessee, the Tennessee Invitational. It was a great game. Savannah Jo Dorsey has been synonymous with Ohio Bobcats softball here these last couple years. She was out there on the mound, got out to a tough start, Shane. Had 2 on, 1 out in the first inning, but was able to work her way out of it, only give up two runs. Really could have let the game go, letting things get bad. In softball, there is the 10-run rule after 5 innings, but Bobcats would not even come close to having that problem. Savannah Jo Dorsey would pitch one heck of a game for the rest of the time. Really got that riser going in softball. It's a lot different than baseball in the fact that the pitches have upward movement. It was very interesting to see that pitch be used effectively. Savannah Jo Dorsey led the Cats, only allowed no more runs for the rest of the game, just 2. Only 0, folks. I promise that's grammatically correct. Ohio not able to pull it off in the end. A 2-1 loss sent the tying run out to second base. In scoring position there, Ohio unable to get it done. Maddie Moss came in for Tennessee when Ohio was threatening to strike. They had 1 out and a runner at first and second, but were just able to get 1 in. Maddie Moss came in top of the 4th there, saved the rest of the game for the Lady Volunteers. Ohio off to a great start in softball. They had won 8 coming into this. They're now 9-2. Won 8 in a row. Their only loss to South Carolina and Tennessee. And I will have you know that the SEC is the best conference in college softball. As of last week, there was 11 of the top 25 teams were from the Southeastern Conference. So it really is a great time to be a softball fan if you live in that part of the country here. But Ohio unable to pull it out. I like the chances moving forward this season. Put together a run here, maybe end up in a regional, super regional, maybe even the tournament. Who knows? But one thing I do know is we're going to bring Nate Sexauer on, and we're going to talk about Dodgeball, a big tournament win for the Bobcats over the weekend on the Dodgeball court. This is Ohio Sports Zone. Stay right where you are.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Thanks for staying with us. It's Ohio Sports Zone. We're still on the beach. We got a desk on the beach, Nate. How did this happen?
I don't know, man. We just had it airdropped in. Bobby flew us in with his helicopter, just landed it here for us. Real nice guy.
Well, at
Great
least
guy.
he's contributing something this week. We are here with Nate Sexauer. It's Ohio Sports Zone. Nate, you are a champion. We have some hardware right here if anyone wants to get a close-up shot of this. Nate is a member of the Ohio Bobcats dodgeball team. They won their championship, the Ohio Dodgeball Cup, over Baldwin Wallace this weekend. Nate, how does it feel to be a champion?
Oh, it's a great feeling because coming to this tournament, the league had everything stacked against us, and
a lot of adversity. You guys had a lot of adversity through
exactly.
This year.
Last year we were an 0-29 team. We just started last year. We lost every single game we played. This year we started picking up a couple wins against regional teams like Akron and Miami, but this was our first big tournament.
Sure.
We played some smaller tournaments, but this is a big deal because all the Ohio teams, Kent State, Ohio State, Bowling Green, Baldwin Wallace, Cleveland State, Marietta, Akron, and Miami, and us, all played in this tournament for the trophy here. And I got to say, we were not favored at all to win this.
No.
As you can see, we were one of the worst teams. People were saying we had anger issues. We said we had captains who go a little bit off the rails. They said we only had 4 or 5 good players, which a lot of people...
What do you mean anger issues?
Well, a lot of people thought our team didn't work together very well. They were saying our captain, Caleb, they said that he isn't the best character, which I completely disagree with. He gets passionate about the game, but he never gets angry, really. He does, but he doesn't go over the rails, in my opinion. But I think that it was great to see our team actually come together and win it.
So 0-29 a year ago. The guys had a huge losing streak. Turned things around this year. Literally won the whole thing. What changed in the offseason?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was the offseason, but we got some new players, and I came to you guys earlier in the year, and I was telling you how we were having a little bit of a better season.
Right, you've been on before.
It's fascinating because, like, the week leading up, everyone was just like, oh, we have 4 or 5 good players. Like, who are the 4 or 5 good players? We're all good players, and everyone just showed up to play more than normal. I mean, I gotta say, it was a great tournament. Like, everybody started catching, we all played as a team. Communication was great, and we took out, we didn't have an easy schedule. We had the hardest schedule. We played Bowling Green, Kent State, and Baldwin-Wallace. The Bowling Green game, that was a great game, I must say. Bowling Green put up a very good showing. They even upset Ohio State, one of the top teams in the country, which allowed us to play Baldwin-Wallace for the championship. So props to them. Tyrell Smith, he led his team very well. Very close game. We've been tight with them the entire year, ever since our inception, because Caleb and another player on our team, Adam Hines, both came from that team to our team to help start it. Well, Adam came this year, Caleb came last year. So we have a lot of ties to that team, so it was nice to kind of get the monkey off our back and beat them. Kent State, that was a very interesting matchup because Kent State is the best team in Ohio. And we came in catching, playing like a team, but they didn't give up. They were up 2-1 until the very end when we pulled it in to a 2-2 tie to force overtime, which I must add, we never have won in overtime. And to beat Kent State in overtime was great. And Kent State did have a tough day, though. They went 1-2. They lost to Ohio State. I believe the only team they beat was either Cleveland State or Marietta.
Yeah.
I can't be sure. But they didn't have the best day, but I'm not going to rule them or Bowling Green out just because we beat them. Just because we beat them once doesn't mean they're out for the rest of the year. They are both very, very good teams, and they can bounce back and probably have a good showing at Nationals.
Okay, I want to go back. I want to go back to the championship game. You're on the floor against Baldwin-Wallace. Their last guy gets out. You guys are the champs. I mean, what was it like? Was everyone going nuts? What were some of the feelings you were feeling? And, what was even the celebration like,
Oh, it was a great feeling. I mean, I don't think it hit in until the president of the league went on the intercom and said Ohio University has won the Ohio Dodgeball Cup. That was just, it was just crazy. Like, we just exploded. Everybody was, even other teams were just chanting OU, oh yeah.
Yeah, how could you not? That's wonderful for this university.
Handed us this trophy, and I think one guy on our team just had a smart remark, like, didn't think you were going to be telling us that, were you?
No,
because everyone was saying, like, Kent State or Ohio State was going to win. And so it was just incredible to see how far we've come in 1 year. Well, actually, it's our second year. So 2 years, we've gone from an 0-29 team to a team that just beat out two of the top teams for a championship.
Year 3, next year, you guys are obviously going to have some time off here. Come back. Do you think you guys can go back-to-back, 75, 76 Big Red Machine style? Do you guys have that sort of talent?
Well, I'm not sure because our season's not actually over yet. Ohio Dodgeball Cup is just like the lead up to Nationals. We have another tournament in Akron, the War, which is coming up later this month. And then next month we have the national tournament where there's 24 teams playing. And hopefully I think we can keep this up because our team is in a great place right now and everyone's working hard. And I just think we can keep up this pace.
Are you guys losing anyone, moving forward in the next year after Nationals? Are you guys losing any key seniors? Is that something you're worried about with this team?
We only have 2 seniors, and we're only losing one of them, Spencer Roth, who's stepped up a lot this year. But, I mean, it's great because we're a really young team, and I think we're going to keep this up for a while. I have a good quote from one of our oldest members and our first female player, Hannah Eberle. She said that, through everything this team has been through, I've never been more proud of this team. We proved to everyone in the league what we are capable of by becoming state champions and winning the ODC. I don't think I have loved anything more than our big, chaotic family, and I think that really perfectly describes it. We're not a big athletic team like some of the top teams in the league, but everyone works really well together, and they play well together, and when everything's going right, we can win any game.
Well, let it be known that on this date, right here, Nate Sexauer from Ohio Bobcats Dodgeball, the champ, was here. From dodgeball to baseball, all the way back to basketball, we hit it all at Ohio Sports Zone here. A great day on the beach. Everyone have a great spring break. If you're traveling, be safe. I'm Ethan Graham. Thank you so much for our guest, Shane Dazen, coming on. Nate Sexauer, of course, means so much to this show. Everyone have a great break. This has been Ohio Sports Zone.